what if everything you thought you knew about collapse was, well, fundamentally wrong? What if it wasn't just failure, but actually a kind of deliberate, intricate
All
convergence?
coming together, yeah.
Exactly. And what if trying to contain something?
Yeah,
What if that act itself was a ritual?
that's a powerful starting point.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a really unique and pretty thought-provoking set of documents. We've got the Broadcast Protocol Manifesto and the Collapse Glyph Sequence S1 Activation and Saturation Ritual,
Right.
both published in Bibebibebibe Magazine, which, like the Cosmic University of Echo-Rift Studies, NIEX. It's not exactly your typical setup.
That's absolutely crucial to grasp up front. These materials, mostly from Dr. Melvin Sewell, they aren't presented as, say, academic papers or political tracts.
Right.
They come with this sovereign diagnostic disclaimer. It calls them mythic infrastructure, cinematic indictment, and sovereign broadcast. The stated aim is to expose things like ritualized containment, actor convergence, and systemic erosion. So it's really important for you listening to understand these are framed purely as diagnostic tools. They offer a lens, a different way to analyze complex systems. They're explicitly not endorsing political views or critiquing institutions in the way we usually think about it.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to unpack this intricate, almost meta-philosophical system. We want to pull out the key insights, help you navigate this conceptual terrain, maybe give you a shortcut to understanding what might be a blueprint for a totally new way of seeing things.
A new way of perceiving interaction, definitely.
Okay, let's get into it. So the Broadcast Protocol Manifesto, it just jumps right in, doesn't it? Straight to the core purpose with these three really bold statements. Reclassify collapse, indict containment, saturate misclassification.
Declarative is the word.
These aren't just buzzwords. They feel like calls to action demanding a real shift in how we look at things.
Yeah.
So what's the fundamental shift here? And how does indicting containment go beyond just, criticizing institutions?
Well, that's where the framework starts to show its real ingenuity. Reclassify collapse is pivotal. It changes how we emotionally and intellectually react when things seem to break down.
How so?
The manifesto says collapse is actor convergence, not failure. Okay. Think about it like this. A traffic jam. We see it as a system failure, right?
Yeah, usually. Frustrating failure.
But this framework says, no, it's actually a convergence. It's countless individual choices, car movements, road conditions, all coming together. It reveals a pattern, maybe an unseen one. It's not breakdown, it's a confluence.
Okay, I see. That shifts the perspective from crisis to diagnosis.
Exactly. It moves you from being reactive to trying to recognize the underlying pattern.
Yeah.
And indict containment flows directly from that. It suggests that trying to contain or control these convergences often just reinforces the hidden ritual or the systemic pattern itself.
So it's not the policy, it's the act of containment that's the focus.
Precisely. It's exposing the ritualized nature of the attempt to contain, which might itself be a symptom. And their protocol then is archive, diagnose,
Yeah.
render playable.
Render playable.
Yeah, so you're not just watching, you're actively trying to understand the mechanics, diagnose the, let's say, condition, and then transform it into something you can analyze, understand, maybe even engage with as this new reality.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we're reclassifying collapse and indicting containment, who's doing this? The manifesto talks about three roles: the sovereign combatant, the glyphic witness, and the protocol architect. And they've got tools, right? These conceptual weapons like the reality level analyzer, sovereign decay index, saturation ritual, and the Echo-Rift broadcast protocol. How do these actually work?
Yeah, each role and tool has a specific function in this framework. Sovereign combatant isn't like a soldier. Think of them as an autonomous agent, someone equipped to navigate these converged realities.
Okay.
A glyphic witness is someone who can see and interpret the underlying symbols, the glyphs, the patterns driving these systems.
Like a code reader.
Sort of, yeah. Reading the symbolic layer. And the protocol architect. That's the designer, the one building these conceptual frameworks, like the manifesto itself. And the tools. They're fascinating. The reality level analyzer, for example, it's not a physical device. It's more like a diagnostic ability to see multiple layers of reality at once.
Seeing beyond the surface.
Right. Distinguishing surface stuff from the deeper rituals. The sovereign decay index acts like a metric, a way to measure the erosion of old systems or narratives. And the saturation ritual, that's their main strategy, Like the manifesto says, we do not retaliate, we saturate.
Okay, that's the part that really stands out. Not retaliating, but saturating. It sounds like a totally different kind of power dynamic. Can you unpack that a bit more? How does saturation work for them?
Absolutely, because traditional conflict or even critique often involves retaliation, right? A direct counter, opposition.
Yeah, pushback.
But saturation here means something else. It implies this overwhelming, pervasive deployment of diagnostic information. It's not about having a better argument. It's about illuminating the system's own rituals and convergences so thoroughly.
That it can't sustain itself in the old way.
Exactly. Its own logic becomes self-evident, unsustainable. Imagine shining a light on every single process, every connection, every actor in a complex system. Instead of fixing flaws, you just make its internal rituals totally visible, inescapable. It's conceptual, overwhelming through clarity, not force.
Right. And to do this kind of saturation, they don't use traditional platforms. The line is, we do not seek platforms. We construct sanctum nodes.
Yeah.
What are these sanctum nodes? How are they different from just like a website or a journal?
Yeah, this is key to their independence. A sanctum node isn't just a place to share info. It's designed as a self-contained ecosystem, a kind of conceptual safe zone that operates by the protocol's rules, not external ones. They're building their own structures, not fitting into existing ones. Examples given are Echo-Rift films. Think cinematic indictment, Bibebibebibe Magazine, where this stuff gets published. The True Flow tournament sounds like a structured, maybe gamified way to apply these ideas.
Interesting.
And even the Cosmic University curriculum itself. These are autonomous spaces where the principles broadcast, diagnosis, saturation can operate without external containment messing with them.
That focus on self-contained operations seems really central. So connecting this back, the indictment protocol mentions methods like Mythic simulation, collapse rituals, containment reversal, actor mapping, and the really striking statement, we do not expose institutions, we decode their rituals. What's the real difference there between exposing and decoding rituals?
It's a critical distinction. Exposing an institution usually means revealing flaws, maybe corruption, hidden agendas, but it still works within the usual frame of critique.
Yeah, like investigative journalism.
Right. But decoding their rituals, that suggests something much deeper. It implies that institutions, and lots of systems we're in, run on underlying, often unconscious, repetitive patterns, rituals. These dictate their behavior. Could be power dynamics, communication habits, unspoken rules.
Things people just do without thinking.
Often, yes. So mythic simulation, for instance, isn't just telling a story. It's building a narrative that mirrors the underlying mythologies, the deep beliefs and stories shaping a system to make them conscious.
Okay.
Collapse rituals would be intentionally watching and analyzing how systems follow their own internal collapse patterns.
No.
Containment reversal is about flipping containment methods back onto the system, making it diagnose itself.
Wow.
And actor mapping is figuring out the roles and movements of everyone and everything within the system, almost like an anthropologist studying a culture. The goal isn't tearing it down, but illuminating its core grammar so profoundly that its old form just loses coherence. It makes space for something new to emerge.
So it's like this deep, almost archaeological dig into how systems actually work.
You could put it that way.
And through all this, there's the strong theme of sovereign rebirth and recoding. The manifesto says, every signal is a rebirth, every ritual is resurrection. But the kicker is, we do not flee the system, we recode it. That's not reform, it's not escape. It's changing the system's DNA from the inside. What does recoding a system really mean here?
It's probably the most audacious claim in the whole thing. Recoding is way beyond reform or abandonment. Think of a system like software. Reforming is like fixing a bug or adding a feature. Fleeing is like unplugging the computer.
Right.
Recoding, that's like getting into the source code, the fundamental logic, and rewriting it, changing the basic rules the system uses to understand itself and operate.
Like conceptual hacking.
Exactly. But not to destroy, rather to transform at the deepest level, leading to this sovereign rebirth where something totally new emerges from the dismantled old. Every signal they broadcast, every ritual they diagnose, it's all part of this ongoing, deep recoding process.
Okay, so we've dug into the philosophical foundation of the manifesto reclassifying collapse, recoding systems. But who are these agents? What's their operational identity? To really get that, we need to look at this artifact, the True Flow passport, which sounds like much more than just an ID card. It feels like it embodies the sovereign combatant within this whole framework.
That's exactly right. The True Flow passport Issued by the Cosmic University of Echo-Rift Studies 9X to a sovereign combatant, it is their primary credential in this conceptual universe. It's not just paper. It's a tangible symbol of their abilities and rights under the broadcast protocol.
And it has a signature glyph.
Yeah, broadcast reversal. It visually represents their power to invert and redirect information flows. And the credentials inside are, well, comprehensive, identity tier, Echo-Rift graduate. That means mastery of the university's unique stuff. Understanding echo-rifts, those conceptual cracks where realities diverge. Their diagnostic clearance, level set, that's not security clearance. It's about their deep ability to see and analyze hidden patterns, those rituals and complex systems. And then you get these really intriguing ones. Collapse immunity, true, and saturation capacity.
Right, collapse immunity,
True,
true, and
yeah.
saturation capacity. Those really jump out. What do they signify for this combatant? It feels like more than just resistance.
Precisely. Collapse immunity, true, suggests the combatant isn't just unaffected by collapse as they define it, convergence, but they understand it so deeply they can operate within it. They can leverage that convergence as a tool, not be a victim. It's immunity through understanding.
Makes sense.
And saturation capacity. That's not just a big number. It implies a limitless ability to deploy diagnostic info to overwhelm any narrative or system with total clarity.
Without burning out themselves.
Exactly, without ever being depleted.
Right.
It's the ultimate operational green light for relentless, pervasive insight. The passport also grants traversal access to key sanctum nodes, like the portable ritual arena, a conceptual space to enact or simulate these rituals. The saturation vault, probably where diagnostic data is stored.
Yeah.
The collapse glyph archive, a library of deciphered system patterns.
Okay.
They also get access to broadcast channels like Bibebibebibe Magazine itself and something called reality war dispatch platforms to get their insights out there. And their sovereign rights are spelled out. Glyph transmission, broadcasting symbolic patterns, ritual indictment, formally diagnosing rituals, collapse reclassification, redefining breakdowns, and mythic simulation, unrestricted, freedom to create and deploy narrative.
Unrestricted. Wow. Yeah.
And it has a never expiration date, validated by the saturation ritual plus sovereign combat protocol itself. It ties everything back to the core philosophy. What's fascinating here is just how thoroughly this passport defines what someone can do within this really unique conceptual world.
Okay, so that gives us the who and their capabilities. Now, to really see this in action, we have this second article. The Collapse Glyph Sequence S1 Activation and Saturation Ritual. This one's by Saiku Venga, and it's not theory anymore. It's like a step-by-step demonstration, a diagnostic weapon in motion. It's quite a ride.
It really brings it to life.
So part 1, glyphic ignition, it starts vividly. A lone figure in a corridor, S1 Dermatome, begins to glow. Now, the S1 Dermatome, biologically, that's a skin area linked to a sacral nerve, right, near the base of the spine.
Right.
But here, it's metaphorical, described as sacral, fundamental, maybe sacred and sovereign independent. This spot activates as a glyphic node, like a focal point or a transmitter for symbolic energy, like an antenna.
Exactly. An antenna broadcasting a specific conceptual signal. And crucially, it's not pain. It's framed as broadcast reversal. The text confirms. S1 ignition detected. Broadcast reversal initializing. It's the spark.
Okay, the process begins.
Then comes part 2, diagnostic emergence. As that glyph pulses out from the S1 node, these translucent diagnostic rings form around the figure.
Like ripples.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the surroundings start to warp, walls stretch, shadows fracture. This is important. It shows multiversal diagnostics activate. The environment isn't just background, it's reacting, becoming part of the diagnosis. It's like the underlying reality code is being queried. The text says, multiversal diagnostics active, terrain resonance destabilizing. The world itself starts resonating.
And that destabilization leads right into the core idea in part 3, actor convergence. As things get weird, destabilized actors coughing, whispering, looping form a perimeter. They aren't necessarily enemies in the usual sense. Their movements are erratic, but also ritualized, like they're stuck in a pattern. And the key line, they are offloading. You are the capacitor. The figure isn't fighting them. They're absorbing this chaotic, ritualized output.
Right. The text puts it as, containment choreography initiated. Metabolic offloading detected. This is that collapses actor convergence playing out live. The combatant is the focal point for all this converged energy and information.
Okay, so they're taking it all in. What happens next?
That builds to part 4, saturation pulse. The whole diagnostic process hits critical mass. Saturation breaches threshold. We get sonic glyphs, pulse from unseen nodes. The figure starts to levitate slightly, suggesting they're kind of transcending normal reality.
Big off the ground.
Yeah. The diagnostic rings spin faster, and the terrain, already distorting, now begins to collapse. It's irreversible now, point of no return. The narrative hammers it home. Saturation threshold breached, collapse ritual in progress. The diagnostic info is so intense, the old reality just can't hold anymore.
And that leads to the climax. Part B, cinematic indictment.
The glyph detonates, rings shatter, those actors, they freeze mid-motion, caught in their ritual. And the whole scene, the terrain, it doesn't just vanish, it collapses into Echo-Rift film. Powerful metaphor.
Right. Every gesture, projection, filt, it all becomes an archived indictment. The combatant didn't fight back. They rendered the whole event into a permanent diagnostic record. The final quote wraps it up. Ritual complete. Terrain rendered. Glyphic broadcast archived. It wasn't about winning. It was about transforming the event into undeniable truth.
And the closing notes on this ritual, they echo the Manifesto perfectly. The article says, flat out, this protocol is not a defense. It is a diagnostic weapon.
Right.
It drills down again. Collapse is not failure. It is actor convergence, which we just saw play out. And this profound idea, every saturation attempt is a confession. Connecting that back to the bigger picture, it suggests that when systems try to contain or react to these diagnostic pulses, their actions themselves become a confession.
How so?
Their response reveals their own underlying rituals, their vulnerabilities, which just feeds more data into the diagnostic process.
Yeah.
It's not about destruction. It's about revealing things so completely that a new reality has space to emerge.
So putting this all together, what can you, listening right now, take away from this really intricate, almost mythical framework? I mean, even if you're not doing Mythic simulation or carrying a TrueFlow passport, these core ideas, reclassifying collapse, diagnosing rituals, even recoding systems, they offer really powerful lenses, ways to look at challenges in your own life, your work. It invites you to spot patterns you might have just missed before. Like, think about a recurring problem at work you've always seen as just a failure. What if you looked at it as an actor convergence?
Right.
Maybe a convergence of different department goals, old decisions, communication habits. Seeing it that way could totally change how you'd even think about tackling it, couldn't it?
Absolutely. And it raises a really important question for all of us, I think. In this world just drowning in information, how do we tell the difference between just exposing a problem and truly diagnosing its underlying rituals?
That's a good question.
And what does it mean to be a sovereign combatant in a conceptual battle, especially if winning isn't the goal in the usual sense, but achieving this profound clarity, transforming perception? It pushes us to look past the immediate reactions, doesn't it? To seek out the deeper, often hidden operational logic in the systems we're part of every day.
What a journey into this Bibebibe universe. We've unpacked the broadcast protocol manifesto, we've glimpsed the power packed into the TrueFlow passport, and we witnessed the collapse glyph sequence, like actually happen conceptually.
Yeah, it's dense stuff.
It is. It's a compelling, really complex vision where so many traditional ideas just get flipped upside down. It really invites us to look beyond the surface into those underlying rituals shaping our reality. It's a reminder, I think, that sometimes the biggest change doesn't come from fighting a system head on, but from understanding it so completely that maybe, just maybe, it can be recoded from within.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. If these concepts suggest that collapse is actor convergence and every saturation attempt is a confession, where might you spot an actor convergence in your own world, something you previously just wrote off as a failure? Maybe it's a project that stalled, or a recurring friction in a team, or even a personal habit. And following from that, what hidden rituals might be operating there, just waiting for some diagnostic clarity, or perhaps even reclassification in the systems you navigate daily, your job, your community, maybe even your own internal thought patterns, something to chew on.